What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more U2, and we're returning to the 1991 album Achtung Baby. I was told to put the emphasis on the first syllable in the word, so apologies. Nevertheless, the next tune is even better than The Real Thing, which instantly makes me think of that, I believe, Marvin Gaye tune, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, but the phrasing here is intriguing, because it almost sounds like someone who would rather have a fantasy than reality, which of course could lead one to a disposition in which you are inclined to delude yourself rather than accept what is actually the case. Which is further to say, if you prefer a comfortable story than the hard truth, well then that comfortable story is indeed even better than the real thing. Now, it could be less value judgment based, meaning it could be something like the thought of a great experience or a relationship, whatever it might be, is better than it in practice, so it's more like theoretical or hypothetical. But yeah, if you're saying that something is even better than the real thing, than the authentic article, then there's clearly a sense of believing something rather than acknowledging what is true, which maybe this is completely off base, but if there's anything to that thematic direction, it feels like maybe the song could be just as relevant in 2025 as it was in 1991. In any case, let's give it a listen and see what I can catch on a first hearing. This is U2 from their 1991 album Achtung Baby, and the track is Even Better Than the Real Thing.
Give me two more chances, you won't be denied. When my heart is where it's always been, my head is somewhere in between. Give me one more chance, let me be a lover tonight. You're the real thing, you're the real thing. You're the real thing, even better than the real thing. Give me one last chance, and I'm gonna make you sing. Give me half a chance to ride on the waves that you bring. Your heart reach out to the swarm of bees, gonna blow right through you like a breeze. Give me one last dance and slide down the surface of things. You're the real thing, yeah, the real thing. You're the real thing, even better than the real thing. Yeah. To fly, the crimson sky, the sun won't melt our wings tonight. Here she comes. Take me higher, take me higher. You take me higher, you take me higher. You're the real thing.
So yeah, I like that. It definitely has a bit of shine to it. In particular, Edge's guitar work on that one really caught my ear. I like the way it suddenly goes into this double time flourish in some of the sections. The bass was there too. I was noticing the pulsing bass, which kept engaging in these tonal shifts, even as it was very consistent and rapid fire throughout the tune. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything to what I was speculating about based on the title, though if there is something, it's the idea that he's almost sounding like he's trying to talk himself into this other person, or maybe the experience. I mean, it sounds like he's talking to another person. You're the real thing, you're the real thing, even better than the real thing. But of course, you can personify something that is not actually a person, but it also sounds like he's saying, we can make love tonight, we can, do something special, even if it's the last time. So there's almost an implied temporal narrative here, though I can't quite get a sense on, if there's more detail than just that. But certainly Bono's breathy, passionate vocals almost sounds like he's feeling something euphoric, like he's in the middle of experiencing exactly what is even better than the real thing. But given again the title and the phrasing of that eventual line in the chorus, it sounds like he's making himself believe something that may or may not be the case in practice. Like he's working himself up both in a visceral sense but also in a epistemological sense. You know what, you're the real thing, you're the real thing. In fact, you're even better than the real thing, which suddenly, implicitly, suggests that there's a disconnect between this person, this experience, this situation, and the actual thing in itself authentically, in reality. So maybe there's something to the thoughts I had in advance, though not as clearly as I thought maybe there would be. Nevertheless, it sounds passionate, and I think the use of Bono's breathy, in some cases almost whispering type of vocals, speaks to a phenomenological state of mind. Like it's, his body is physiologically perhaps even better, reaching a point where he's seemingly convinced himself of whatever this experience is, whether or not it's actually real. So yes, love the guitar on this one. Very well crafted vocals to fit with what on some level it sounds like the lyrics are related to. As I said, I enjoyed the bass pulsing beneath everything, so a really crisp production, and ultimately one that I am keen to hear people give some insights or thoughts on. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.